Welcome back, everyone. So we're going to finish off topic 3, the building blocks of life. So to finish off this topic, we're going to, now that we understand like the different types of macromolecules, we're going to learn about how they are synthesized. So I kind of alluded to this in the last video, so we're going to learn more about it in this video. So by the end of this video, you're going to be able to describe the synthesis of the polymers from the monomers and explain the process. So that's through dehydration synthesis, also known as condensation, and hydrolysis reactions. So just like we learned in the last video, we have our 4 main biological macromolecules of life. And those are those large molecules that are necessary for life. And of course, these 4 main biological macromolecules, the carbs, the lipids, the proteins, and nucleic acids, are built off of smaller subunits. So we're going to learn how they're built. So let's start off by learning about the monomers and the polymers. So monomers are the single subunits or building blocks of most macromolecules. So think about like the carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates, their monomers were the monosaccharides. So if we have 2 monomers or 2 monosaccharides, they are linked together, they form a disaccharide. And if we have multiple monosaccharides linked together, they form a polysaccharide. So polysaccharides are the polymers, which are the carbohydrates. So monomers are the single subunits of the polymers. So polymers would be the chain of monomers. And what links them together are covalent bonds. Now the process that's involved is what we call a dehydration synthesis reaction. Now in my last video I talked a little bit about that, so here's just another, I did it with a chemical formula equation, so let's look at it in a different visual, okay? So this is, basically we have 2 glucose molecules and we're forming a maltose. So maltose is a disaccharide and it's held together with a covalent bond. And this is again a dehydration synthesis reaction. So dehydration means we're going to dehydrate it by removing a water molecule in order to bring the 2 monomers, in this case 2 glucose molecules, together to form a covalent bond. So you can see how the 2 glucose molecules, how they're situated. And so this reaction, they're going to be brought together and the hydroxyl group of 1 glucose molecule and the hydrogen of another glucose molecule will bind together to form a water molecule. And that will allow this oxygen to bind to the carbon end to form our right there, our covalent bond. All right, so that is our maltose being formed through a dehydration synthesis reaction. So the 2 glucose are brought together by removing water to form a maltose, okay? And then they're linked together through a covalent bond. So it's a strong bond that is linking them together. So dehydration, water is released. Sometimes you'll see it as a condensation reaction. So that's just another name for dehydration synthesis reaction. So dehydration synthesis reactions are building polymers. Hydrolysis is the opposite. Hydrolysis is breaking apart polymers. So if you take this word hydrolysis, think hydro, water, lysis, breaking apart. So we're going to, this time we're going to use water to break the bonds that are holding the molecules together. Okay, so we're going to take the polymer, well in this case it's just a disaccharide, we're going to take that water and we're going to use it to break the bond. Okay, so hydrolysis, use water to break it apart. And so basically it's just the opposite of the dehydration synthesis reaction. So by breaking apart, we're going to add a hydroxyl group to one of the glucose and a hydrogen to the other. Okay, so it's just a reverse of the dehydration synthesis in this example. Okay, so pretty simple. So just remember, dehydration is removing water to form a polymer. Hydrolysis, we're adding water to break apart a polymer. Okay, so here's a video to kind of help us understand things.
Many important biological molecules are made of repeating subunits, called monomers. When many monomers join, the result is a polymer. For example, amino acid monomers join to form a protein polymer, and glucose monomers combine to form a complex carbohydrate polymer. Biological polymers form by dehydration synthesis reactions. As you can see here, each of the monomers in this reaction has a hydrogen, or H, and a hydroxyl, or OH group. In the course of the reaction, the hydrogen is removed from one monomer and the hydroxyl group from the other. The hydrogen and hydroxyl group combine to form water, and a bond links the two monomers. Hydrolysis is the opposite of a dehydration synthesis reaction. During a hydrolysis reaction, a polymer is reduced to its monomer subunits by the addition of water. In fact, the word hydrolysis literally means to break water. The hydroxyl group from a water molecule attaches to one monomer, and the remaining hydrogen attaches to the other monomer. In other words, water is used to break the bond holding monomers together. Let's do a quick recap. During dehydration synthesis, monomers join to form polymers, and water is released. The opposite happens during hydrolysis, where water is added to the reaction to break a polymer into monomers.
Okay, so that video was a good review, and hopefully it'll help us answer this question. So dehydration synthesis leads to the formation of, is it A, polymers, B, water in polymers, C, none of these, or D, monomers? So dehydration synthesis leads to the formation of, well, it leads to polymers and water. Okay, both, right? Because we're dehydrating, so we're removing water to form a polymer, B. Okay, so we're doing both. Okay, so it's polymers plus water, so B is the correct answer. Here's another question. During the breakdown of polymers, which of the following reaction takes place? Is it A, condensation, B, hydrolysis, C, dehydration, or D, covalent bond? If you chose hydrolysis, I would agree with you. So remember, hydro means water, lysis, breaking. So the breaking down of the polymers with water is hydrolysis. So that's it. So we are officially done with topic 3, the building blocks of life. So you should be able to describe the synthesis of polymers, macromolecules from monomers, as well as explain dehydration synthesis or condensation and hydrolysis reactions. So since we're done with topic 3, the building blocks of life, you should be able to answer all of the questions in the workbook related to topic 3, as well as the quiz questions for the topic 3 quiz. Next up, we have topic 4, which gets into more of the nucleic acids part of the biological macromolecules, the genetics, as well as, or DNA particularly, as well as we learn more about how energy is produced by the cell.